can fail at doing what you don't love.
Exactly.
So you might as well try to do what you love.
Exactly.
Quit worrying about where you end up, like just be like right now.
Welcome to Being Green Money, UNT's Student Money Management Center podcast that explores everything you need to know to be financially successful in college and beyond. I'm Becca, your host, and today we have two great artists here with us, Mancini and Prince Martin, here to talk about pursuing your passions, breaking into the art and music worlds, and life with an unpredictable income. Their insight was so interesting that we couldn't just cut them off, so today's episode is only the first half of their interview. You'll be able to hear the second half on our episode next week. You will definitely get some interesting insights whether or not you are an artist yourself. So without further ado, I will turn it over to them. Could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your line of work?
My name's Mancini. I'm a local artist here in Denton. I paint, do murals, a little bit of photography here and there. I haven't really shown any of that, but mostly just painting and murals.
Nice.
My name is Prince Martin, also known as DJ Scheme. Obviously, I DJ here and there around campus. I'm heavily involved in music, especially like R&B and hip hop on the production side also. And I'm also a student here, senior, studying finance, and yeah, that's just about it.
How did you guys find your talent or your love for your work that you're doing?
Like I said, I was studying finance here at UNT, and I just had friends studying art at UNT, and I just like threw myself into it. I mean, I always knew that I liked art as a kid. Like when I was in elementary school and taking art classes, I always was like showed like kind of a talent for it, but I didn't really like pursue it much growing up because I was doing sports and just different things, and actually music as well. I grew up playing the drums, and so yeah, I just like started painting to release like any stress, problems, and things like that, and just take my mind off of whatever was bothering me, and it just blossomed and it just took off. I decided it was what I wanted to do, and I just kept doing it. So.
Was it hard to switch from something that's generally thought of as like a pretty stable, normal career off into being an artist?
Yeah, because it's very unstable. It's very inconsistent. So like getting work, and it's a lot of just throwing it out there. Like I'm applying for open calls all around the nation to try to show my art around different areas of the nation. And so it's just a matter of getting accepted. And so right now I'm not working a regular job, but typically I'll have like a regular job with it. But I'm trying to just make it. So it's still tough.
How did you find your talent?
I won't really say it's a talent. I would say it's kind of like something that just found me. Like being younger, I had an older brother that was like really into hip hop, and so he would always like, "Hey, check out this new music. Like, check this out. This is the newest, latest, stuff that's hot right now." So like growing up, I was always like up to date on new music and hip hop, and throughout high school, I was always that guy people came to like get the new like update on like what's hot, what's the new music out. And kind of throughout that time, I kind of figured that I wanted to do something with that and kind of like make money on the side while, I was in college. So I just started, I decided to DJ, and it kind of like expanded my knowledge on different areas of music other than just, the normal top 40s, stuff like that. When it came to school, my parents actually wanted me to be in the medical field, but I didn't want to do that because I hate science. And so I found that I can incorporate business into art and entertainment, and kind of that'll serve as the middle ground between what my parents wanted and what I wanted. So I kind of found my niche with that, I feel like.
Are you hoping for that to become like a full-time thing when you graduate, or do you still want to get a traditional finance job?
Oh, most definitely. Like anybody that want to like follow that passion, I feel like they should. That's first priority because you want to be happy in whatever you're doing. Yeah, I say go for it. I mean, always have that backup plan, of course. I mean, that's rule number one. But just follow your passion and you'll be all right.
Yeah, I read in a book, it was like, you can fail at doing what you don't love.
Exactly.
So you might as well try to do what you love.
Exactly.
I mean, if you fail, typically, just learn from it.
Yeah. I refused to do something I wasn't happy with, even if it was like less money or more risky or something like that.
Did you have a plan when you first started DJing or first started pursuing your art?
No, not really. Not really. I just kind of threw myself into it and just kind of learned as I went and tried to surround myself with other artists so I could learn from them and take tips from friends and just I started, one of the first things I did was just a raw artist showcase, and that kind of got my feet wet in showing art. But it's the only problem with those types of shows is they pretty much recruit anybody and everybody. So, and it's all about the people putting on the show making money, and they're not concerned with if the artist makes any money. Yeah, I've decided to try to just fund my own shows. And we're doing a show March 9th at J&J's basement. So have you heard of Richie Flo?
Sounds familiar.
He's a artist here he's a musician here in Denton.
Mm-hmm.
And he hit me up wanting to put on a show at J&J's basement. And so me and another artist that goes by Other Matters, and then Chris Jessup. And Chris Jessup's father is actually, I think, a professor of art here at UNT. So we're all going to try to put together a show at J&J's basement March 9th. So
when you decided to just throw yourself in there, were there any moments where you're like, oh no, this may not have been the best idea, or maybe I should have stayed in finance, or were you just all in?
I mean, I still think about how I probably will go back to UNT, come back to UNT and finish my degree, because I was so close to finishing. I had 30 hours left. Yeah, it was, I don't regret it. Honestly, the struggle of trying to make it as an artist is I don't know, it makes it better in a way. If everything just worked out right away and I never had to struggle.
It's more satisfying in the end.
Yeah, it's more satisfying. There's more to talk about. There's more, I've found just there's different things I like to make. Whereas if I would have just constantly been selling what I started with, I might not have gone into the different avenues of different types of art. So I don't know. I think to be a musician or an artist or any of that, you have to love the struggle first, and you just have to
You're gonna spend most of your time in the struggle too.
Yeah,
just know that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm scraping by right now. This month was great. I had a really good month, but it's tapered off, and now I have to start finding other projects to generate some income, and so
you definitely have your ups and downs when it comes to following your passion
all the time, man.
Yeah. I would say, I kind of jumped straight into it in the beginning. I remember when I first bought my equipment, I didn't have no idea of what I was doing, and I remember I was horrible. Starting out, I knew I was horrible, but I practiced and I worked at it, and I didn't really set any goals for myself because I didn't really know the culture of what DJing was, and I didn't have anything to look up to. So I got close with other DJs and things like that, and they kind of embraced me, and I loved the brotherhood that they shared amongst each other, because it's kind of like a community, And so I kind of I liked it. So it made me kind of look up to guys that were traveling here and there, even the big DJs that Steve Aoki, Diplo, Major Lazer, stuff like that. Those guys are the ones I look up to. Or even just music moguls such as Diddy, Dr. Dre, people like that. But when it comes to setting goals, I definitely want to do something outside of music also, as long as it's along the lines of entertainment in general. So it's kind of iffy right now because I'm in school, so I have to kind of try to figure out how I'm gonna balance both. Because right now, after this interview, I'm going to Texas State, right on the road. So, and at the same time, I have homework due at night. So it's kind of hard to balance.
You said you didn't really know what you were doing when you started. What were those first few times when you were DJing like?
Well, I can say the first time, okay, I was in my room practicing for a year before I actually went out in public because I was too scared. I was a shy person. That's the thing about being a DJ. Like, you have to kind of become a social, butterfly, whatever you want to call it. Because I was like that shy person at first that really didn't go out. I wasn't really involved. I transferred here to UNT, and at my old school, which was SFA, I wasn't really involved, and I was just kind of in my room all the time. But during that process of getting to know the art, I became accustomed to the lifestyle of being a DJ, which is interacting with people, networking, because that's what brings you business. So
yeah, I mean, I was kind of the same way.
Yeah,
I'm very isolated myself.
Yeah,
but fortunately for us, it's nowadays we have social media, so I can just post my art on Instagram.
Yeah,
and doing murals and things like that as an artist, that gets you a lot of attention. That's how I gained a lot of followers, was just the murals I painted.
Yeah.
But I can relate. Yeah. If you're not out there, real outgoing and constantly trying to meet people, you can kind of slip through the cracks. And it's the art world is a big word of mouth, and so
same in music.
But it's also what's actually helped is I feel comfortable at art shows. Mm-hmm. If it's just a party and things like that, I'm not that comfortable because I quit drinking. I don't have anything to loosen me up. I don't do any drugs. Mm-hmm. And so I just I kind of isolated myself. But when I'm doing when I have art that I'm showing, it gives me something to talk about. So it's it's actually a tool to help me socialize.
Kind of break the ice with people. Hey, I do art.
Yeah. And I just honestly, meditation has helped me get out of my head. Mm-hmm. And I realize everybody's struggling with all the same things. So just don't worry about it. There's always gonna be people that talk shit. Hope I can. But yeah, there's always gonna be that.
Oh yeah,
just do what I don't know.
Yeah, you'll always have people that are gonna oppose you in whatever you're trying to do. Or
there's if you one thing as an artist, I can catch myself. I used to do a lot was compare my work to other artists.
Yes,
and that will eat you alive as an artist because everyone has a different style. People like different things. So what one person likes about their art, the other person may like about yours. And I realized too that while I'm doing that to other artists, those same artists could potentially be looking at me the same way, comparing their work to me. So I had to realize hey, quit worrying about that stuff.
It will eat you up.
Yeah, and it's just and the problem too though is to try to avoid comparing myself to other artists. I find myself not staying up with all of what's currently going on. So which helps when I have an idea and I want it to feel original. If I'm not constantly looking at other artists' work, I can feel what I'm doing is original. But yeah.
So those things meditating or trying not to compare yourself to others or not seeing everything that's out there in the world, have you noticed that affect you in any other areas of your life besides just when you're trying to create your art?
Right now, just being able to do this podcast with some strangers I just met, I've definitely it's definitely helped with my anxiety and things like that. It's just helped me not worry so much about stuff. It's no big deal. I don't know.
So where does your inspiration come from? I know earlier your brother, you have people that influenced you when you were younger, things of that nature. So is it the money? Is it the enjoyment? Is it the history behind it? What is the inspiration like?
I would say in order, it will be the people that are around me, just the love for music, then third, the money. I mean, the money is a big factor, but I feel in the beginning, if you do everything for money, a lot of opportunities will pass upon you because, it's just not really a good mindset to have when starting out because the money is not there. when you're starting out. That's why it's called an art. It's just like being a rapper or a singer. Like, you're not going to get your first big contract as soon as you open your mouth. Like, you got to kind of work for it and be patient. When it comes to like my influences, like my older brother, yeah, he definitely like influenced me like to dive into music and things like that. Oh, it's definitely, it comes from my like surrounding like people. Definitely, that's number one. That's number one. Then the money second, because the money is getting better.
Yeah, for me, I'm also like heavily inspired by people around me. I feed off of like what my friends are doing. So like I have one of my friends, Dan Black, just did a 4-story mural on Andy's bar in downtown Denton. So it's like, now I feel like he set the bar high. So like now I want to do something just as big or just as good. So like it motivates me to try to push myself and get better. And I hope like I'm doing the same for him. And like I'm also like you said, like I like the history of like a lot of artists that like Jackson Pollock struggled for half of his life, and he was like extremely like envious of Picasso because Picasso was really famous for like his Cubism movement. And so like it's just I don't know, like the story of their lives, like Basquiat, Jean-Michel Basquiat, he had a good upbringing per se. Like his dad, like he wasn't poor, he wasn't like struggling, but he had struggles with like stability of the household. I think his mom was like mentally ill, and his dad, I don't know if he really like saw his talent for his art, and he ran away from home at 15. Just like did whatever he wanted, and it's just like the things just fell into place. And I constantly like catch myself like trying to think like, quit worrying about where you end up, like just be like right now. And then I also think like when I'm like making something, I'm like, this could be like a defining moment, but I don't realize it until like later on in my career, like if things get better, and who knows what'll happen. But also, like, I want to touch on, like, too, like, the money thing is, like, a bonus. You know what I'm saying? Like, because in the art world, like, if your prices are too low, people don't think you're worth it. If your prices are too high and they don't know who you are, you're going to price yourself out of the market. So I was showing art at a gallery in Dallas, which isn't, like, a high-end gallery. And most galleries want half of whatever you make, like to show. They want half of whatever you sell it for. So it's just part of the game. And first thing you have to like do is like you have to, if you're not okay with that, like galleries aren't going to want to work with you. So like I immediately like was like, you know what, I understand that, because if I have someone that's helping me sell my art, I want them to make just as much money as I am, especially if they're bringing in the clients.
Yeah.
So, but I went into the gallery and had my prices, because I was trying to offset like the 50% commission that they wanted. So I priced my work a little higher.
Yeah.
And he said something to me that at the time, like, I took insulting, but now I'm like, I really agree with what he said. He was like, do you want to collect your own work? In a sense, like, do you want to sell it or not? So I realized like art is only worth what someone's willing to pay. So like I quit. I don't even really like to price my work anymore. I throw it up there, and if I'm really struggling, I'll end up selling a painting for a lot less than what I really want to get for it. Mm. Hopefully that doesn't get out and people don't see that I'm struggling, and I know they can get a deal. But if someone walks up and let's say I'm like this past month, I had a really good month, and I was having a show, typically I'm just like, name your price on my paintings, and if it's a price I like, I might sell it. If not, I'm going to be like, no, I want more money than that. So I realized like art is only worth what someone's willing to pay. And, you know, if you sit there and worry about making money, like it'll definitely like, you'll drive yourself crazy. But at the same time, I think it is, society expects artists not to care about making money, which is stupid. I don't agree with that. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, and like you're looked at as like being greedy or whatever if as an artist you want to make money. It's not the same as like doing it to make money, but what people need to realize is like
you still have to make a living.
Yeah, you have to make a living. There's a lot of overhead to art. People don't realize like a stick of like oil paint that I'll use to paint can cost like $28 just for one stick, one color. So yeah, and the canvas and all that. So there's a lot of upfront costs to being an artist and a lot of risk. And so obviously it's an original painting. I think it's just a lot of people that don't agree with an artist pricing their work a certain way typically aren't that educated in like how much it takes to produce a piece of work, and not even just the time it takes to produce that work, but the time you invested to get to where you are to be able to produce the work. So like I didn't just start out painting how I'm painting now. Like I had to like go through different steps. So like let's say an artist went to here at UNT, studied art. Like I mean that costs. I don't even know. Like for 4 years, we'll probably like 20 grand or something. I don't know how much. Probably more than that.
Yeah, a little bit more than that.
Yeah. So you got to think like they've invested all of that money, and so when you're buying a piece of art, you're buying that as well. So and it's original and yeah. But yeah, like it's a game. I realize with the art world, you gotta like make friends with the right people that can get your art in front of the people that are going to spend thousands of dollars on it. Or, there's just different ways you can go about it. You can merchandise the shit out of your work and put it on everything and sell it that way. And unless you get like really big, I think you're kind of like setting yourself up for always just being that. So it's like, what realm of the art world do you want to like operate in? And like I was watching a documentary, and one girl was talking about like art fairs and how like everybody's trying to be in these art fairs like Art Basel, and it's she's like, if you want your work to become like just overproduced like that, and then that's essentially like, if you start doing that, that's what your work becomes.
Don't it like drop down the value when it's mass produced like that?
Yeah, it depends. Like there's some to where like I have some theories to where like if I'm selling a print of a painting and I sell 1,000 prints of the original, I would think that would make the original more valuable. And the fact that a lot of people own the reproduction, and then and only one person's going to own the actual painting. So it can go both ways. But then there's also, it just depends on the collector. Yeah. There's also collectors that are like, I want the original and I don't want any reproductions of it. I want,
just be talking a lot of money.
Yeah, because what I do with my prints is if I'm going to do a numbered edition, let's say I'm going to do 100 prints of a painting, and that original, let's say I wanted to make $5,000 off that original painting. I would price my prints, if I'm doing 100 of them, that's like $50 a print, right? So I get $5,000. So I'd want to charge $50 a print so that I could make the value of the prints of what I'd want for the original. And then hopefully I could sell the original too. But that's kind of how I do my prints. So like if I do an open edition print, it's usually like I'll charge like, they're really cheap. They're like $20 maybe 30, sometimes 10, just depends. And I'll just sell a shit ton of them because they won't be numbered. But I typically try to make my art more collectible. So I don't want to put like a lot out there. I want it to be more collectible. But you're kind of playing a game there to where like if people don't want to buy it at the price you set, like you won't make any money until you like put yourself in that other league. And that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. Like I'm trying to find, ideally what I'd like to have is a legit art dealer that will sell my work for me, and then I'll give them a percentage. And like I'm willing to be pretty generous on like my commission percentage, not 50% like the galleries, but I'm willing if a gallery wants to like give me a solo show, if they're gonna market it and get their collectors there, I'm willing to give them half of whatever I sell for. But I also don't want to have to like pay a rental fee or any of that stuff. Oh, yeah. So I'm just trying to like figure out the business side of art which is a lot of who you know and just getting it in front of the right people.
Yeah. People don't really understand how much goes into like the process of art or like music.
Music's even harder, man,
Yeah.
because I was listening to, I think it was, I watch like Access TV a lot. It may be something you want to watch. Like they do interviews with not necessarily like DJs, but just older artists too, like classic rock and all that stuff. And I think it was Steve Miller. He was talking about how you have like 5 seconds in a song to like catch their attention, whether or not they're gonna like it.
Yeah. In the beginning.
Yeah, and like but the thing is, you have to listen to a song a lot longer than that to really know if you like it.
I give myself 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like,
There's some songs where like I'll listen to it the first time and I'll be like, I don't really like it. But then I'll keep listening to it and I'll end up liking it. So like it's even harder for you because like as with art, it's like I see this poster. I like this poster. You know, it's funny. It's like I can get everything from it pretty quickly. Whereas music, it's kind of like if I hear one of your songs, I could be potentially hearing one of your worst songs, and I'll think that all of your songs are.
Yeah, that's true, and it just turn you off on everything.
Yeah, so it's really hard for a musician. So I understand that.
Yeah, people don't understand how much time and money goes into like live sound. That stuff is like really expensive. So when you kind of like want to know like how much you're worth as an artist or a DJ, you have to kind of go based off of how much time and like money you put into yourself and how much you invested into yourself. So if you spend all of this money on equipment, obviously you have to get a return on it. So I kind of go based off that. Like every time I like buy something new or I put in like extra time to like do something extra for a certain gig, that's how I kind of go based off how much I charge.
I know that Eric like spoke on some of the challenges like he faces as an artist. What are some challenges that you face as a DJ?
Really, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people that want to DJ. Obviously, we have like 20 here at UNT.
That's just so that you know of.
Yeah, that's all I know. It's probably someone in the room right now practicing. You know.
Yeah.
Another challenge is probably just trying to like network and like just get around and get your name out there. Really making a name for yourself is hard because people just not going to just trust you just right off that. You have to show something. You have to prove something to them, and that's kind of hard sometimes if you're not like right there. Like only time one gig will lead to another is because someone see me somewhere else and they like the way that I play or the way that I interact with the crowd and things like that, and it kind of like it's like a domino effect of like how things go. But if they like really haven't like heard of me or seen me before, or if they just see me on social media, it's kind of hard for them to just like all right, we might just go with the safe route of going with someone else. So the competition is there.
Yeah, I mean it's the same with like galleries. You can't just like walk into a gallery with your portfolio because you would hope that it would be that easy.
Yeah,
just be like, do you like my work?
Yeah,
blah blah blah. But like, if a gallery has people doing that all the time, like they're so busy looking through portfolios, but then they also have their own work. So really, you can become more of a nuisance.
Yeah.
Than like,
and everyone's good.
You don't want to piss them off, so. There's like, what do you do? And like, it's all just kind of word of mouth. And you just got to hope that they see your work somehow and they want to work with you.
I feel like everyone is like at the same skill level. Like, I'm sure like when it comes to like paintings and stuff
there's
like that.
Like my buddy Dan, he's like a phenomenal artist. He can draw you, paint you, whatever you want. But he still feels like he doesn't like know his style and like what he wants to do. So he doesn't feel like he has like his direction. And I'm trying to tell him, I'm like, look, Dan, like, you just gotta just do it. Like, just keep putting your stuff out there. But he's like, he's almost too humble.
Yeah.
Like, you know? So, but like that's why I love him, though, because he's just such a nice guy. He's you don't get any weird vibes from him.
I was like that in the beginning, too. I was just like, I wasn't as confident. That's what took me a year to actually, like, go out in public and perform, because I wasn't, like, confident. I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I was as good as my counterparts.
And you're probably always going to feel like that. Yeah. I still feel like that. And that just means that you're like actually probably a good artist, because you're you constantly want to get better.
Yeah, you constantly want to learn.
And the music and art world is constantly evolving.
Yeah, always.
With especially with social media, like, I feel like it's just like finding the next materials to work with next. It's almost a competition. Like, this artist uses fire to make their work, so now I have to use ice or some shit, you know? Like, it's like, what am I going to do? Yeah. But, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just about getting it in front of the right people and those people wanting to invest in it.
How did you decide that, like, this is the moment I'm getting out of my room and out there? Did you give yourself a deadline, or was there a specific skill that you wanted to master before you put yourself out there?
Oh, really? It's when I transferred to UNT.
Okay.
Yeah. I knew that when I came to a new city, came to a new school, I wanted to make a difference. Like, I didn't want to move, like, think about it. If I was just doing the same thing as I was back at SFA, then there was no point in leaving. So I promised myself that I was going to make a change when it came to school and when it came to, like, my passion. So what I did was I just really got engaged in what was going on campus. It kind of got my name out there even before I started even DJing. Like, people was like, hey, I know him. Ooh, he DJs, but I never heard him DJ, but I just know him from around. So from that's what really jump-started everything. It wasn't really anything within music. It was more of just, like, getting myself out there, socializing. And then when people actually start to hear me play, they were like, oh, you're actually good. You should actually do more stuff on campus. And that's how I really started. It wasn't really anything that was, like major that caused me to, like, say, okay, this is what I want to do. I mean, I've always had that drive, but it wasn't me. It wasn't like the same cliche story, like I had an epiphany or something like that. It was just something that moved from that
just the change in the atmosphere, just
the change in the environment, just made it
started working out.
That's how it happened.
And you guys were talking about before how with music it's so important to grab people right from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Are there things that you know that you need to do right at the beginning of every gig to make sure people are engaged or to bring people back if you can tell that they're not as into it as you'd like them to be?
Yeah, I kind of play, like, different types of music, see what they kind of vibe with. I may start out with R&B. If I feel like they're vibing with the R&B more than the hip-hop, then I may play mostly R&B that night. So, I kind of like pick at them a little bit, see what they react more to, and I kind of go based off that. And first impression is the most important impression. So if I get them engaged in the beginning, it's kind of a story. So if I get them engaged in the beginning of the story, I think I can pretty much take them wherever I want them to go throughout the whole night. So if you get them in the beginning and get their attention, you should be fine, like, throughout the rest of the night.
Once again, that was the first half of our interview with Mancini and Prince Martin. The second half will be on our next episode. Links to their social media can be found in the show notes. The Student Money Management Center is your on-campus resource for all things personal finance. We have free workshops and one-on-one coaching sessions, as well as an emergency loan program. More information about us can be found at moneymanagement.unt.edu or by stopping by our office in Chestnut Hall 313. Any feedback or ideas for the show can be sent to money.management@unt.edu. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please spread the word to your friends, and I hope you all have a great week.